The use of violence by female superheroes has been written about mostly in terms of its subversion of dominant cultural narratives of gender, as well as in terms of readers' and viewers' pleasure and feelings of empowerment. I would argue further that for those who find the subversion of gendered norms discomforting, the palatability or popularity of female superheroes' violence also lies in stories that, 1. Conform them to raced and classed notions of gender performance. 2. Present them as seemingly naturalized to such behavior because they were born to it via an alien or exoticized monoculture. 3. Accentuate their similarities to popular male superheroes. And 4. Surround them with familiar military tropes and trappings. The subversion of gender norms attracts a more progressive audience. The containment of that subversion through these techniques attracts a more conservative audience, thus ensuring marketability across the political spectrum. Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel's 20-teens comics employ all of these practices. First, most female action heroes and female superheroes, like these two here, are white and attractive per Anglo-European standards, and almost always portrayed as heterosexual. Not women of color, not working class, not impoverished, not disabled, not queer, not transgender. So they may be subverting norms of gender with their superheroism, but they do not provoke further anxieties about race, class, sexuality, etc. Others have made similar observations about white female protagonists, such as Brown, Helford, Innes, Springer, Tasker, and Tongue. And Tongue gives a more specific counterfactual that, quote, a fierce kick-ass black woman is more likely read as hyper-aggressive, wild, untamable, and vicious, rather than as an admirable warrior woman breaking down age-old stereotypes that white women invoke. Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel, or Diana and Carol, recenter dominant categories and thereby ease reception of their subversiveness. Second, these characters are presented as naturalized to their behavior through their biology. Since their 20-teens revised origin stories, both characters are now descendants of warlike, othered, exoticized monocultures. Wonder Woman is now part Greek god because her father is Zeus, on the left. Captain Marvel is now part Kree because her mother is Kree, on the right. No longer are their powers chosen or earned, as they had been written for decades, but inherited from a non-human parent in a way that explains and softens their exceptionality in the male-dominated superhero universe. It explains away their subversive choice to use violence through their female bodies because now it's only natural for them to use violence like others of their kind. They may be women, but they've been born to such behavior. Their behavior and their abilities are rationalized as just being genetic. Third, recent changes to their power sets, personalities, and dress frame them as more akin to popular male superheroes. Wonder Woman is now much more like both Superman and Thor. Like Superman, she flies and is so strong she's basically undefeatable except by aliens or gods. Like Thor, she can call lightning to her and redirect it. And just as he is a demigod who apparently still needs weapons, the 20-teens Wonder Woman does as well, a new sword and magical bracers. Her revised parentage as a demigod daughter of Zeus provides justification for her powers in a way that her gender and Amazon training apparently could not. Similarly, Captain Marvel has become more akin to Captain America through their military dress blues uniforms with red accents and a mid-chest star, and that military connection is reinforced in their calling each other Army and Air Force, and in their allies calling both of them Cap. Neither will stay down in a fight. She's also increasingly similar to Iron Man Tony Stark. Both are hotheads who live with alcoholism, diffuse tension with humor, shoot beams of light and energy out of their hands, fly even in space, love War Machine, Rhodey Rhodes, and are affiliated with the U.S. government and military. With these revisions, the two may, as women, still be quantitatively uncommon in the mostly male domain of superheroes, but they have qualitatively conformed to its dominant visuals and story beats. Fourth, while each of the above techniques eases reception of their militarism, while also displaying their capabilities and strength and thereby nods to feminism, I would argue that the most powerful method for doing this is in constructing their stories as militainment, surrounding them with military aesthetics. The war genre and the superhero genre do tend to do this, but usually with male protagonists, because male soldiers and male superheroes make up about 85% of their respective universes, so there's no cognitive dissonance when you see them. With female soldiers and female superheroes, it's different. They're perceived as transgressive and troubling. But with Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel, with the merging of the female soldier and the female superhero into the singular figure of the female superhero soldier, the transgression and the trouble get dissipated. As superpowered women, they negate arguments that women aren't strong enough for combat, and they bring feminist values of care and capability into sites commonly constructed as hyper-masculinized and unfairly exclusionary, that of the superhero and that of the soldier. As military women, their potentially disruptive superstrength and womanness is contained as they act in concert with hierarchical and disciplined organizations and with their military boyfriends, Stephen Rhodey. This simultaneous feminism and militarism works to broaden their appeal. Stahl defines militainment as not only, quote, entertainment with military themes in which the Department of Defense is celebrated, but also substitutes images of death with the power and pleasures of high-tech war machinery, where state violence is translated into an object of pleasurable consumption. Here and on the next slide as well, Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel are portrayed with military weapons and with military allies, who are often their significant others and their closest friends, while engaged in righteous violence within and alongside military organizations, and they look powerful and attractive while doing it, sometimes in uniform, sometimes in red, blue, and gold costume. We aren't shown who was under that rubble that Wonder Woman is standing on with her fist up, and we aren't shown who Captain Marvel might have dropped bombs on in that plane behind her where she's standing with her fist up, or who she's going to shoot with that gun when she's asking with an American flag in her back pocket, "You want to take another shot at an American soldier? You're going to need a bigger gun." We are shown that through military violence, they've empowered and strengthened themselves, a promise that is part of military recruitment strategies and was also part of the marketing of these characters' 20-teens films. In some ways, it's a promise of feminism as well, but feminism is based on collective power. And here, the empowerment is that of individuals, which is not the same thing, and that elision also increases the palatability of the female superhero soldier. At the same time, along with the fetishizing of oversized and often sexualized weaponry and absence of images of suffering and death for often racialized others, our heroes are presented as working with diverse allies who protect the vulnerable against injustice. The focus is on honorable, collaborative teamwork for a higher purpose, with people who are more like family than colleagues and who are treated equally within the team. And that's why Wonder Woman says, quote, "There is a peace we find in battle, knowing we are not alone." Sometimes these groups are allied with governments, sometimes they go a little rogue, so they can be seen, as DePaulo says, of the establishment and anti-establishment at the same time. Placing a woman in the team leadership role, formerly dominated by white males, increases representational equality and provides new models of collective strength to those previously underrepresented, while also normalizing the female team leaders' behavior as they act in similar ways to those white males. But that leadership also means that when she's out in front of the team, surrounded by the aesthetics of battle and war and triumphing over others who might be just like them, but we don't get that story, her whiteness, cis-heteroness, able-bodiedness, and traditional Anglo-European attractiveness is recentered, and the team's use of overwhelming force to deal with conflict is normalized. This mixing of feminism with militarism, these small steps toward inclusion and integration, whether you're talking about the superhero genre or the armed forces themselves, is a type of militainment more easily celebrated by a variety of audiences. And then comics producers in the military can point to seemingly post-feminist and post-race success stories of individuals who are now no longer marginalized and can claim they reward merit and are blind to demographics while simultaneously touting difference and diversity as a measure of their tolerance and fairness. It may be that difference is acceptable as long as it doesn't make any structural difference. Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel being white and non-queer, their ancestry, their similarities to male characters, and their military attachments and as contextualizing their violence can ease anxieties among more conservative audiences about there being feminist superwomen. And there being feminist superwomen who work with allies from marginalized groups and who seek justice for the vulnerable can ease anxieties among more progressive audiences about their military violence. Their militarism works both with and against their feminist origins and story histories in ways distinct from their male counterparts and contributes to their global and politically polysemic popularity. So, I would like to close by noting that this presentation is part of a larger project in which I'm exploring how these militaristic portrayals render the feminism performed by these characters highly contestable and illuminate debates about the diversification of both the military and the superhero genre. Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel embody the success of liberal, hegemonic, white feminist advocacy for inclusion in the armed forces and in media representations as a mark of equality, but they also embody other feminists' critiques via critical race theory, post-colonial theory, queer theory, feminist security studies, and disability studies, that women's participation in such institutions as they currently operate can be tokenistic and conservatizing, can serve an imperialist, capitalist nation that discriminates against and physically harms multiple vulnerable groups at home and abroad, and can undermine the potential for more collective and solidaristic actions. Thank you.